LonelyMans, baby, live from Casa de Burlingame.
Yo, we are in the same casa on the other side of the world. I can hear people behind me, which is weird.
We're in the same house right now. Is my roommate upstairs? What's going on in the kitchen?
Yeah, he's creeping in the kitchen. Creep, creep. Technically, I'm creeping in the living room. I don't know why I'm saying he's creeping. He's like, who is this random black guy talking to the abyss in my living room? Fair enough.
He doesn't know he's on a live session of the LonelyMans podcast.
Yeah, joke's on him. He's about to be featured, son. Nah, I'm just playing. He's not going to be featured in here. He's hanging out.
Get
Well,
Ellis on the podcast. His first appearance. He's a big fan. He would love this.
yeah, first time listen, long time listener, first time appearance. Anytime you want to make a face appearance, Alice, let me know. Yeah, hop on in. He's jazzed. He's hyped. He's excited. Loud noises.
Number one fan, number one guest on the podcast.
Technically, he would be the only live guest that we've had in studio. Technically,
Yeah. We tried to do this live face to face, but there was a lot of feedback in the microphones, a very high pitched noise that wouldn't have been good for the listeners, I feel.
Yeah, I think if I would have had headphones, it would have been a little bit better, but whatever.
Yeah, either way, it would have been you and me face to face with our laptops out. This is less weird. It's just you in my living room and me in my bedroom right now.
Yeah, well, I feel like two people talking to each other face to face, but behind a screen is the most 2020 thing that we can do, right?
Yeah.
Like you can't just talk to somebody face to face. Like it has to be through some sort of screen.
You were fumbling with your laptop trying to figure out what to do, and I was talking to you through the Zoom call, not even like acknowledging that you were in the same room as me.
Look up. No,
Yeah.
look up. Put the screen down. Look up.
Trying to direct you through the screen. I'm like, maybe if you go into the other room.
Yeah, that is the most 2020 thing that can happen at this point.
That's the most connected I've felt to you all day, honestly.
Oh man, which says a lot. We've been pretty connected these days. You know, I could feel the love. Did you cross your fingers when you're connected? I don't
Yeah. Together,
either that or you've cursed me. You are secretly jinxing me and wishing evil on me, which that could also be a thing.
It's my birthday curse.
Yeah, this is the special birthday podcast. It is your birthday, bro. The big 3-3, the Christ age. How does it feel?
Hell yeah, baby. Me, we've gone through the 33 Club on this podcast before. So
We have touched on the 33 Club. Yes.
It's going to be a big year for me. Jesus Christ, Chris Farley, and American domestic terrorists all had a big 33.
And now we added Jesse Burlingame to the list.
Jesse Burlingame's on the list now.
Yeah, I don't even know what you're about to do. If you see this,
I have 364 days ahead of me. So let's figure it out.
Oh, I'm keeping my fingers crossed for your survival. That's the thing. It's the number one thing about the 33 Club that we found out is no one makes it out alive, except for everyone else that made it to 34.
No, you go down swinging though, whether it be for your religion, for your cocaine habit, or for whatever was written in that manifesto.
What are you going down swinging for? What is Jesse Burlingame's going down swinging for?
I'm going down swinging for stand-up comedy this year.
Yeah, we just watched that Comedy Store documentary. That's a big thing.
We just went through a 5-hour Comedy Store documentary binge, and now we're all jazzed up on comedy. That's
not like we weren't jazzed up on comedy before when we started a comedy podcast and did stand-up comedy, like in general.
I wish this documentary came out a year ago when we were still, we wouldn't even have watched it. We'd be out doing stand-up.
We would have.
Like, oh, did you hear about that Comedy Store documentary? It was like, yeah, I don't know when I'm going to have the time to watch it though. 5 hours.
I am living my comedy dreams right now.
Yeah. I'm trying to I want someone to make a documentary about me. That's what I'm out here doing every night.
Right. Well, that's the thing about it is because when you take stand-up comedy for what it is, outside of the bigger picture,
it's
what are you
absurd.
doing?
It's stupid.
It's so absurd. The whole concept is super absurd. If you tried to explain to my parents every night, what are you doing? Well, I'm driving an hour and then I go up there and I say jokes for 5 to 10 minutes and maybe they laugh, maybe they don't. And then I hang out with some friends and I go home.
Yeah.
And that's what you do every single night.
When we boil it down, mainly I went and hung out with my friends for a few hours. And at one point, we told jokes for a couple minutes, but mostly it was just us talking shit in a parking lot
A lot
until
of
one of
shit
us
talking
realized they have
about
to wake up at 4:45 in the morning, so they're like, we should probably go.
and over diners, a lot of late night diner meals.
Yeah, RIP diners also.
Yeah. I miss diners, you know? Somebody can make up a whole, you get like a four, like 17 eggs, a whole steak, a full plate of hash browns, all for $6.95. Like, where else
Yeah.
could you do that
I
besides
wouldn't go home and make myself 3 eggs and a steak and a side of home fries, but at 1 a.m. in a diner, let's go for it. I want a whole
Yeah,
breakfast right now.
it's like you could go home and do that. You could, but you could just go fucking sit in a diner booth and talk shit with your boys and
Yeah.
make fun of shit, and that's gone. RIP to
And
diners.
you order a lasagna at 2 a.m., no one's looking at you funny. Like,
That's because anything you do at 2 a.m. anything
yeah.
goes after 2 a.m., right? Like ordering lasagna is the best possible scenario that can happen at a diner at 2 a.m. Like if all the waiter has to say that happened in their night was like, yeah, some guy came in and he ordered the lasagna.
Right.
Crazy. Like they had a good night because from anyone that's been out late, like we used to have it was an IHOP that was open 24/7.
Mhm.
The wildest shit went down in the IHOP parking lots, like inside the IHOPs. Like I've seen, that's where all the shit went down. So
Yeah,
if
we
you
have a
order
Denny's down the street from me, and before I lived in Worcester, I would only be in that Denny's at like 4 in the morning. When we were like, what else do we do now? Like, I think we can go to Denny's.
that's the only place. This is the diner. When you go in there and the wild shit happens, there's nothing better than after going after a show and then you and all the comics talk about the show and just chop it up at a diner. That's over some 2 a.m. lasagna.
Mhm.
Shout out to 2 a.m. lasagna. I'm getting hungry thinking about it.
I know. I'm like, we should just stop doing this podcast and just go order lasagna right now. There's probably a place we can get it right now, maybe.
Probably, but no, there's
All
there
the
any place
diners that I think are closing down, they're like, no, we do DoorDash. Please order a lasagna from us. We're desperate.
Yes, now that Garfield is out of business, we need you to eat our lasagna. Not gonna lie, I'm just gonna go out on a limb here. Lasagna is just okay for me. Just okay. It's just fine.
If I went to a party and they had lasagna, I would probably I'd be pretty excited about it. It's
Would
not
you
something I'm
trust
gonna
party
I would not,
lasagna?
I joked about the diner lasagna. There's no way I'm ordering a lasagna at a diner.
Would you trust? Would you trust a party lasagna? Like you just showed
Sure.
up? Is there crack in this lasagna? What's in this lasagna that someone's at 2 a.m. like, yo, I got this lasagna?
This is where I wish Ellis was still in the kitchen. He would have strong opinions about lasagna that he could break down to us right now. He's the only person I've seen eat lasagna in the last 10 years since I lived
Is
with
he a
my mom.
lasagna connoisseur?
Yeah, he's a big fan of lasagna.
Huh. I guess I'm not.
Ordered
I'm
it
not
recently. I saw him eating lasagna recently.
I've never ordered lasagna out. I've never gone out and been like, lasagna is what I need.
Did you get one at Uno's the other night when we were there, like last week?
Sure didn't.
I think you were eyeballing the lasagna.
Nah.
The worst lasagna came out of your mouth.
I have never ordered lasagna anywhere. I've never asked for lasagna.
On dogs, I never touched the lasagna.
Lasagna is one of those things that no one's ever ordered. No one's ever asked for it. It was just there. It's like when you go to a family party and someone brought lasagna. No one ever was like, hey, come over at 3, bring lasagna. Like no
My
one's
mom
ever
definitely made lasagna, but I can promise I never asked her to do that.
Never. No one's ever asked for it. It's just something that gets made. No one's ever asked for it.
Yeah, my mom got a wild hair up her ass, and she's like, "I'm gonna make a 7-layer lasagna tonight." I'm like, "What is all this ricotta doing on the counter?" She's like, just you wait and see.
Doesn't lasagna already have 7 layers, anyways?
I don't know how to make a lasagna. How did we get on lasagna?
I don't know.
I brought it up. It was my fault.
Someone has a bit that it's easier. Whose bit is that? That it's easier to make a kid than it is a lasagna, and that is so true.
I'm blanking on it right now. It's someone we know.
Yeah, someone we know. Shout out to all the local Worcester folks. But that is a funny concept when you think
Yeah.
about it, because lasagnas are tricky as fuck to make, but a child, not so much.
Mm-mm.
It just takes 2 people and some bad decisions.
I feel bad. I don't know who that comic is now. It's escaping me.
God.
Call in, please. Let us know. If you're a fan, if you're listening, DM me.
Yeah, clearly, if you're one of our boys, you should be listening to this podcast and be like, "That's our joke," and then we'd be like,
Yeah,
"Yeah, shut
it's
you up."
not Jimmy Cash or Paul Cyphers. I don't know who you are, what you do, what your jokes are, but
Mm.
we appreciate them.
That feels like something Jimmy Cash would say, but it doesn't. It's not a Jimmy Cash joke.
No, it's gonna bother me the rest of the podcast.
We're gonna think. We're gonna think about it this whole time as we think about. I don't know why I'm thinking about lasagna. I'm not even hungry. You talk about food when you want to eat something. I don't want to eat shit right now. I don't want to even eat lasagna. I'm just intrigued by it. I'm gonna fucking become a lasagna researcher.
I'm not hungry. I want no food. I could use a drink. I should have brought a drink in before I started recording.
Yeah, and we drank all the last seltzers, didn't we?
Yeah, there's no more seltzer left. You're like by the kitchen. You could easily go get a drink.
I could. I mean, that
I'm
would require
one
me
room over
standing
from the
up.
kitchen. I could come and make an appearance. Let's just switch screens real quick. Just get up and just swap.
Just the Chinese finger drill.
Yeah.
Or is it
Chinese fire drill?
Yeah, did I call it a finger drill?
Chinese finger trap and a Chinese
trap.
What do you get when you cross a Chinese fire drill with a Chinese finger trap?
I just always thought the Chinese people were making fun of gay people. They're just like, 2 sticks and one.
We should have got Jimmy Cash on the podcast. He was hanging with us earlier. He
that would
what, like 4 hours of that documentary, and then he's like, I gotta go. I have a wife and kids.
He forgot he had a life. He got sucked into the vortex.
Yeah, we had all the lights turned off. It was like a real dark documentary. We just got sucked in. We went through the 70s, 80s, 90s to today. Spun all the hits.
It's a lot of comedy history, which made me realize, which made me just sad, honestly. Like it was just sad because there's no comedy anywhere here. It's just shut down. It's so empty.
It's
There's a void. And
that's why we have to head down south now. We have a mass migration to Austin, Texas.
Yeah, because there's nothing like that feeling of being on a stage and like it was just the thing about watching a documentary, which I'm not a documentary person. I know you love documentaries. I don't really care for documentaries. I'm like, yeah, that's fine. If I really care, I'll read a book. Yeah,
I want to know the real story and like get it quick. Yeah, I could read the book, but I want to just hear people talk about it.
That's fair. I've just never really cared about shit that much, like that happened recently enough for people to be alive to talk about it. Like
I've watched so many documentaries. I can't remember what any of them are or what they were about. I remember like 2 of them. Banksy's Exit Through the Gift Shop and Knuckle, about Irish travelers that bare knuckle box each other behind barns over like family disputes. It's one of the greatest documentaries ever.
Of all the ones to remember, what was it about
because both of those documentaries, someone just filmed for years and had no intention of making a documentary, and then they just had all of this incredible footage, and someone was like, we need to put this together and make it a documentary.
Okay, I see. Because the whole Banksy stuff, he never wanted to get filmed or whatever. Do people know who Banksy is?
His identity still hasn't been revealed. People think it could be like 5 different artists that all just go under one name as Banksy. But yeah, some guy was just filming street artists for years in the 90s. And then he eventually got led to Banksy, and Banksy like took him around as his like personal cameraman, and they filmed all these like stunts that Banksy did. And then with Knuckle, 2 Irish travelers, formerly known as gypsies, 2 Irish traveler cousins were getting married, and they wanted to have the wedding filmed naturally. So they hired a guy with a camera. filmed the wedding.
No camera. They just hired a guy.
Yeah. Like there's a beautiful ceremony between 2 cousins. We need to capture this on films to remember.
Are you sure you want to put that on film? If it's 2 cousins, like, ooh, you don't want to capture that, right?
So he filmed their wedding, and then they were like, oh, hey, my other cousin is fighting some guy next week. We need someone to film that. Can you bring your camera to that? So he did. And he like for 20 years, he filmed these bare knuckle boxing fights behind like horse barns and on just like dirt roads. It's absolutely insane. These like traveler families would beef with each other.
What would they fight about for 20 years?
Just nothing. Like I don't even.
Was there money on the line?
You watch generations fight each other. Like the dads fight each other, and then they have kids, and then the kids fight each other, And then like the grandfathers even fight. It's not, you watch like two 80-year-old men bare knuckle box over some like decades old feud where no one even really knows what it's about anymore.
So what did they win in the end?
Nothing. It's the saddest documentary. Just who's the tougher family?
That's what they're just fighting over? Just like who's the
But the best part is they record like taunting videos to each other, like wrestling promos. Like when Hulk Hogan was like, "Listen here, brother, I'll see you at WrestleMania." They're like, I can't do an Irish accent, but they're like, "Yeah, we're gonna kick your fucking arse behind the horse stable." They send each other threatening videos, and like they traded like VHS tapes with each other.
Were they the funniest part is that were they like serious or were they like jokingly doing
dead serious? Yeah,
I'm going
deadly serious.
Damn it, O'Reilly! Like, what are they? I can't. I don't even want to watch this documentary. It just seems depressing.
I should download it. Right, we could watch it tonight. I could download it on BitTorrent and find it. I used to have it on my hard drive somewhere.
Oh my!
I haven't watched it in like 10 years, but it's absolutely amazing.
That seems like 8 hours of depression waiting to happen. Like it's just like the saddest thing you've ever watched for 8 hours.
It's incredibly sad.
Yeah,
especially when you watch the two old men fight each other. You're like, what is this about? What is this for?
No, there's nothing. I watched Muhammad. I still have Muhammad Ali in a boxing ring at like 40, and it was probably one of the saddest things I've ever seen.
Yeah,
now,
and that's a sanctioned fight with gloves.
Yeah. Now imagine two old 80-year-old men in the street. There's not many things in general right now in my life that would even get me to go walk outside. Right? And then you put in to fist fight another human being.
Yeah.
And then hold that kind of anger for 20 years? What the fuck? Like, how do you even be mad for that long?
One of them was just on the side of a road somewhere. It was like
he just had to get it out.
Yeah, it was
pulled over and scrapped it out real quick.
They just like pulled the trucks up like on the road and got out and just like had it out with each other.
Yo, I wonder, like, there's got to be some sort of like, is it just like on site? Like you see them, they're like on site, bro. We saw their truck. We just pulled over. Like, they knew what it was.
It's a legitimate like boxing match, but one of them just happened to be on the side of a road.
Oh my god!
They're like, we're gonna meet by the farm.
Like the Irish Hatfields and McCoys.
Yeah, well, they're homeless. They don't have like a place to live, so like.
Well, technically, there's just the Hatfields and McCoys. They were probably both Irish.
Yeah, it was like two huge like gypsy families in Ireland that would fight each other. Now I think they all live in like trailer parks and stuff.
I think we got too accepting. You know, there was like a time where we just let too much slide. Like we became too accepting as a society to where shit like that can just happen. Like somebody needs to nip that in the bud. Like
they're like, these are like the dregs of society. Like they've been like pushed out to the outer bounds where, yeah, they just like have these feuds no one else knows about. It only matters to them. And
this is when you need like a good mom. This is when you just, no, go sit in the corner. You go to timeout and shake hands later. Like you just need to make some lasagna, bring them all together over lasagna.
If only the Irish travelers had an Italian family cuisine to bring them together.
This would never happen to an Italian family. It would never be.
I don't see any documentaries about Italian families fighting each other in this. Not sanctioned. They probably.
Yeah, those are called. Those are like crime family dramas. It's a completely different genre. Yeah, that's a whole different thing. You got some mobs sitting in the back restaurants eating lasagna.
Yeah.
Just how many hits have been ordered over like a plate of lasagna? Someone's like eating lasagna, and Jimmy Two Tones.
Yeah, lives just ended.
Yeah, I don't like that Jesse Burlingame. More lasagna, you know. Like
you got some ricotta like dripping off your fork. And
no, kill him. Yes, kill him. Just dripping lasagna from your face, ordering hits. That would be honestly. I feel like I respected like the mob families. Like that's the coolest way to live, you know? Like you rock into a restaurant, hey, Tony. And then, you know, like everybody leaves, you got the whole thing, you just eating lasagna.
Yeah, you probably own the restaurant or they owe you money somehow. They're under your protection.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure there's probably people on the backside of it like not that cool, but I can
Like,
get
yeah, we
that.
were running this family business for 30 years, and then the mob moved in and said we owe them protection money. Now we're like, protection from what? They're like, from us. And we're like, oh,
You are paying us to not lay hands on you guys for your money.
yeah, now I'm in debt for no reason.
God, which is pretty much what the IRS does. So, what?
Ooh, talk on it, Ben. Speak on it.
I mean, I can't hate, right? That's like hey, like what do we pay tax? I mean, I don't want to go into too much, but clearly, when this country was founded,
Yeah, you
they
pay
didn't
that
believe in
protection
paying.
money.
They didn't believe in paying taxes. That's why they founded this country. They're like, nah, we're fucking tired of paying taxes, and now we get charged those same taxes.
Mhm.
And it's like, oh, they're not lawful, but if you don't pay them, some thugs will show up to your door to break your thumbs. The IRS is a bunch of gangsters, bro. They are
Hey, you
thugs.
don't think it can happen? Ask your boy Wesley Snipes.
They got Blade, dog.
Yeah, took Blade
he,
down.
he thought he did 1, 2, and 3, bro. They got Blade like that.
Yeah.
Didn't even like, yeah, I know that you and the vampires are fighting, dog, but we got taxes to pay. We ain't cared about any of that.
Oh, you're immortal. You'll be paying these taxes for the rest of eternity.
For life. Yeah. Wesley Snipes tried to say that taxes were unlawful, and then he got like Chris Tucker and some other shit people into it.
Oh, really? They're like, oh yeah, hey, in the Declaration of Independence here, it says that we don't have to pay taxes.
Bro, taxes, bro. People forget like Al Capone was brought down by taxes.
Mhm.
Like it was just like, I'm like, what? You
Was it
couldn't
the
catch him or
RICO?
whatever? What's up?
The RICO.
Yeah, you got him on the RICO cases, bro. Just the tax evasion. Taxes never fail, dog. They get everybody.
Death and taxes, boy, they're inevitable.
Bro, yeah, I got the IRS came after me. Me running this thing. Can you
Did you
believe
get audited?
I got audited by the Massachusetts tax people. They audited me. And then they had the audacity to ask me for $194.
You got off light.
I paid it because I'm not fucking with these motherfuckers. I will
Yeah,
not.
I got here 200. Keep the change.
Yeah, just gave him a cool 200 and I paid it early to avoid
Big
taxes
bills,
and fees.
crisp.
Yeah, and then the worst part is if you don't pay it on time, they add taxes and fees on top of the taxes and fees you're already paying, which seems fucked up, but they can do that.
Yeah,
that's like the most gangster thing ever.
I'm gonna go freestyle with the microphone this time.
Oh shit! I thought you were about to drop a bar. I was like, you were saying freestyle. I was like, oh, Jesse Burlingame. Okay, I just keep expecting you to freestyle when you hold the mic. Like I just keep it be like, drop the mic, 1, 2.
Yeah, it kind of looks like I'm standing up, just cause like that, like beat swag, like I'm about to go in.
Turn my headphones up.
I used to be able to freestyle before I smoked way too much weed in my 20s, and then in my teens, I was able to just freestyle for hours on end about anything. Did you ever cipher with your boys back in the day?
We did. That's what weed made us do. Was we would smoke the weed and then the ciphers would come.
Yeah, that's how it started, and then at some point we just like went like I just tipped over.
Yeah,
where the weed no longer functioned in that way.
Yeah, that's it's like anything, right? Like if you start like doing anything, whether it's like alcohol or you're trying any drugs, weed, even food to a certain example, or like working out. Even working out is a good example too. Like when you first started, or if you do it to a certain extent, then there's a benefit, right? It's just like depending on what that is, once you cross a certain threshold, then it just becomes like all negative. Like it's just all down in pain and like suffering. And so that's a lot of the thing is like when you like a lot of drug addicts, like when you start out, it's all euphoria, right? Like the first time you'd fucking try like heroin and you do something, it's like, holy shit, this is fucking mind blowing.
Yeah, and then you're just chasing that dragon afterwards.
You're just chasing that dragon, right? But then there comes a time when you reach a down point to where there's no more higher euphoria. It's just all the pain that comes with it. It's not being able to stop once you reach that downside. And that could be with drugs, that could be with food, that could be with anything.
Podcasting.
Mostly podcasting.
First couple episodes, we're like, this is fun. Let's keep doing this. And now we're like 30 something episodes in. Just this is the pain and suffering right now.
we're just
someday we will reach that high again.
Well, that's the thing about it. That's like the crazy thing about watching this documentary is like you see all these things. And then the part about it that's got to be like sometimes I try not to think about too much, but it's like you hear about all these people and you realize like Freddie Prinze was like he was at the Comedy Store at 19. He had like Carson at 19. He had a sitcom, and he did all of this, had a Freddie Prinze Jr., and then he committed suicide by 22.
Yeah.
It's like the dude lived more in those time periods than I have already in my life.
Freddie Prinze Jr. was like months old when he killed himself.
Yeah. But that's the whole thing, though. He did all of that in like a 22-year span. I'm 30, just sitting on a table recording a podcast. Like, that's the caveat to this.
It's all relative, baby. It's all the perspective.
It is. Well, see, that's the thing. And I can't even be mad, right? Because like, if I look at like where I'm from, like the whole idea that I would be even chasing comedy as a dream is something that I want to do, or podcasting is so like, it's not even conceptual. It doesn't conceptualize in an African mentality. Like the whole concept of what do? You tell jokes on a stage? Like it doesn't register as a thing that you could do for like a living. Like if I
Right.
like for like most things my parents still consider like games. Like it's not something that it doesn't really translate to that. So
Do they have arts and entertainment in the Congo? Are they like musicians?
They're musicians, but they make music. I don't know. It's a different thing. Stand-up comedy is a very strictly American thing.
It is an American thing, and we
It's
are
an
the
American
best at
thing.
it. No one's
But
better.
like even in the Congo, like even if you're like a big artist or whatever, like you're a musician, but you're not like you're not like the king of the world over there. You know what I'm saying? You're not like
There are no like celebrity entertainers.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple like the guys that make some music and stuff, but you're not like touring out sold out rock shows or whatever. You're not like a rock star. You're just that's a strictly American ideal, is the ideal of a rock star. Like you can't have no one else had rock stars until American came. Like American rock stars, even people that were from other countries went to America to become rock stars, because you can't be a rock star really anywhere else. There's not anywhere else that has the culture of that culminates to the extreme that we do with entertainment here.
I don't know. These Korean pop stars are on a different level now that we can't even like fathom.
That is true. I don't even,
people kill themselves for these guys.
But that's the thing. I don't even know anything about
I think the pop stars kill themselves too. Like they just get, ours do also.
Yeah.
Shout out Freddie Prinze.
We just talked about it.
Pretty sure. So our celebrities also.
Yeah, no, we
had a bunch of rock stars in the last 5 years kill themselves.
Yeah, I mean, that's the price of fame. I don't know if I've ever wanted to be famous. I've just never wanted to work a day job. I don't know if those two they coincide, but
I think Bill Murray said, if you want to be rich and famous, just try being rich first.
Yeah, fame. I would definitely try being rich first. I mean, I definitely just want to be more rich than famous, to be honest. Like if I could just
That's what Migos says.
What?
Migos has a song. I'd rather be rich than famous.
Yeah, absolutely. Being famous would kind of suck.
Yeah.
Like
I don't want that scrutiny.
I mean, yeah. Well, nowadays, especially because you're so scrutinized, like everything you do is in the public eye, and everything that you do is judged instantaneously. Yeah. You know, it's not like somebody's looking back like 10 years down the road. It's like, no, he woke up at 8:47. What is he sleeping in? Like someone's like, what? Why is he? If he's rich, why is he waking up so early? No one's ever pleased, you know, like you can't please anybody. So this would be that, which makes sense. It's a hard era to be, but
it's what we got, baby. It's the hand we were dealt.
Yeah, right. You can't choose.
Roll with it. Roll through this fucking pandemic. Roll through everything.
No, just roll with the punches. Just keep bobbing and weaving.
Yeah.
I do feel like I'm always like, now that this pandemic thing's happened and we haven't been able to do comedy all the time, I'm like, what if it like starts making you like re-question, like, what am I doing with all this time? I'm like, it's literally been like a couple of months since I haven't been able to do comedy full time, and I'm already like going through this rabbit hole of questioning, like, do I live an adventurous life enough? Do I need more adventure in my life?
Yeah.
But that is one thing though. You can't take it for granted though. This pandemic has taught me you can't take things for granted at all. Like that happened overnight. Like we thought this was going to be done by the end of March. We'll be back on.
2 weeks. We'll be out of this thing. I'm like making plans with girls. I'm like, 2 weeks, this is over. Like I'm going to come through. We're going to hang out. And then now it's like 9 months later. We don't talk anymore. Oh, well, we tried.
Yeah, pull up. That's the thing. We can only try. Just keep trying. That's all this is.
We were hopeful back in March.
Have we lost hope? Can't lose hope. Got
It is.
hope. Like,
We gotta. Every pandemic, people have come out of it. At the when we talk about these pandemics now.
how many other
So,
pandemics have we talked about? What are the other pandemics that we've had recently?
there was the Spanish flu. I think that was the last one, right? Like 1918. That was like the last like big one.
Yeah, the Spanish flu. That's when there was. I mean, there was a wave of affluenza that came through in the early 2000s. Some people suffered from affluenza, but
Yeah, what did that kid do? Like drunk driving?
ah,
He
I
like
can't remember.
he might have killed somebody. Now that I
Yeah,
think
it was like
about
he
it,
did something like that, and they were just like, he's just too rich and nice to
I think
have
he
anything.
killed someone drunk driving, and they were like, "Yeah, he's just had a rich upbringing. He doesn't know any better. He suffers from affluenza."
And he probably got a slap on the wrists.
Yeah,
Well, that's what happens when you're rich and you got money. You just get slaps on the wrist. Like, how many chances can you get?
it has to like taint your brain though, right? Like just growing up like rich and like really having no like rules or anyone to tell you what to do. You probably think you can just
Absolutely.
like go out there and just drive recklessly and do whatever you want.
I mean, you can't, but no one's told you that you couldn't. So why couldn't you? You know, it's like
Yeah.
everything else that you've done so far up to this point in your life has just been cleaned up by somebody else. So what's to make you think that this would be any different?
Mm.
I it's a weird thing trying to judge between like what's in somebody's like biology or like bringing the nature nurture part of it. I don't think anyone's ever answered that question, right? That's the whole argument, nature or nurture.
That's way above my pay grade. That's way too deep for me.
I don't know. Well, like no, but like how much do you think of our lives is like dictated for us, like we have like control over versus how much you think we don't?
I don't know. Like I think, yeah, like if I'm an addict, is that because of my genetics or is that like the life, the way I was brought up,
Yeah, I think
the
there's definitely
situations I've been in, the choices I've made?
well, it's got to be a combination of both. I think we're definitely genetically predisposed to certain things,
Mm,
right? Like there's people that just are genetically predisposed to having addictive personalities, just like there's people that are genetically predisposed to certain things,
yeah.
different body types, and so on and so forth. And I've always just wondered, like I've always just been interested to see like how much of that is like where does that genetic predisposition end and where does the upbringing that person has, or are they like hand in
The
hand?
yeah, the nurturing, right?
But it also like they almost come hand in hand, you know, like you have like a Richard Pryor, like a Richard Pryor. In order to be Richard Pryor, like his that you had to have gone through what Richard Pryor was born through, like being
Mm,
raised in a whorehouse is essentially what his childhood was,
yeah.
right? So like people looked up to Richard Pryor the comic, but to be Richard Pryor the comic, to have that perspective, to have that view, you had to have been Richard Pryor the child growing up around a bunch of prostitutes in a real crazy type of world.
Mm.
I don't know. Is it worth it?
I don't. Yeah, I've had a pretty boring life, and I'm a pretty boring comic on stage. So maybe we need to go do some crazy shit. I need some shit to talk about. I need a life to live.
Well, that's the thing. I think that like, well, that's the thing I've been thinking about a lot is I think the comedy should be like an expression of your life, you know, but people don't live now. Like it's so much harder to like, I think about a lot of the stuff that even being a 90s kid, like the way that we grew up playing outside and just like, because before you had, everyone was like a latchkey kid when I was a kid, you know, like you're 10, 11 years old, running around the streets, you're staying out till like 10 p.m., hanging out with girls, doing all this stuff. Like, and just getting in like reckless trouble and stuff like the kids nowadays definitely don't do at our age.
Mm-hmm.
And you have these type of like adventures like in a lifestyle that I don't think that people like moving forward can live, you know, like it's becoming less and less, it's harder and harder to kind of do those things that are pretty much different from like going to school and being on social media and going to college and getting a degree, you know, yeah. So this is the path and you stay on it. And it's like anyone that ventures from now is now like those people are fewer and far between and they're more, and anyone who does it, they're just like, let me
Mm.
put them on camera.
Yeah, yeah. You don't want to take any risks now because you don't want people to like capture it on video or something. You don't want to be
Yeah.
canceled for
I'm more
it.
worried about becoming a meme than being canceled. Like you
Yeah,
can
that's true.
cancel
It's
me,
kind of
but a
almost the
meme
same
lasts
thing.
forever. It's just your worst moment replayed all day, every day. And then you just have to get to the point where you can just laugh at your worst moment all the time.
Just a clip of this podcast, like two guys trying to think they're having a deep conversation, failing, right?
Well, there's 38 more episodes and hours
Yeah.
of this. So
We're on Reddit cringe right now for this episode.
is Reddit cringe a thing? Or did they just start a new?
Yeah, you don't want to end up on Reddit cringe. If
Oh
you don't
my
want to be a
God.
meme, like that's like the lowest is Reddit cringe.
Oh man, I didn't even know Reddit. Well, let's keep our fingers crossed that this doesn't end up on Reddit cringe.
Yeah, I'd rather be like a fail, like me, like tripping and falling, like dropping my food in a restaurant or something, instead of just like.
What are the types of things that end up on Reddit cringe?
I did see like a Joe Rogan like podcast clip on there one time where a guy was like about to have a snack at the end of a podcast. He's like, what are you doing? He's like, oh, I'm just gonna have a snack. He's like, no, you can't eat on the pod. He's like, why don't we just end the podcast? He's like, no, that's fine. I'll put it away. He's like, no, we're like 3 hours in. We could just end the podcast. You can have a snack. It's super awkward.
That is super.
I think it's Eric Weinstein.
So Joe Rogan told the guy he couldn't have a snack on the podcast?
No, you can't eat. I just got mad at you for eating on the podcast. You can't chew into the microphone.
That's fair, but 3 hours in. But I feel like Rogan, of all the stuff that like they do on a Rogan podcast, so like people are smoking cigars, smoking weed, drinking alcohol, doing
none of that makes like noises.
I guess that is where I draw my line. The lip smacking sounds is where I draw the line.
Yeah, you don't want to hear someone chewing into your ear while you're at work trying to do your thing.
Well, I'm hearing your dog over the couch snoring while I'm at work.
While we were watching the documentary, I would hear those like lip smacking noises. I look over, just Valerie cleaning her paws on the couch.
Oh my gosh, your dog loves love, loves all the love.
Yeah, vicious looking pit bull, but she is the biggest puppy dog.
Yeah, which is crazy because when I was growing up, we had a dog. In Colorado, pit bulls are illegal.
Mm-hmm.
So we had a dog that was half pit.
That's BSL, breed specific legislation.
Yeah, I'm very against. Is someone outraged by that?
Oh yeah, people. Yeah, that's how I know about it because I've read articles where people are fighting against breed specific legislation where they outlaw pit bulls, Rottweilers, Dobermans, all the black dogs. Basically, it's. I think once we get down to it, I'm like, I see what's going on here.
It's funny because I work in insurance. And those are pretty much like the same dog breeds that like companies just won't insure.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we had
but they're all the guard dogs that people use to insure their companies.
Coincidence? I think not. I don't trust Dobermans though. I don't trust Dobermans.
I like a Doberman just because like watching like the Warner Brothers cartoons back in the day, like the guard dogs were always Dobermans.
Yeah, they were. But that's the problem with that is like all the videos I saw of black people getting fucked up by dogs were also Dobermans.
German Shepherds.
Yeah, German Shepherds as well. I thought Dobermans and German Shepherds were the same dog for a really long time, which just put it in my mind. If somebody has a German Shepherd or a Doberman, they're trained to eat my ass. Like they just love this
get
chocolate.
Those Nazi dogs away from me.
Pretty much. That's how I feel. But we did have a pit bull growing up. He was a part pit, part lab. But our neighbors got really mad at the dog and they didn't like us. So then they reported the dog. And because he was part pit, they took him.
What do they do? Like a DNA test on it?
What's up?
Couldn't you be like, no, this is just my Labrador?
Nah, it's because they had a little thing from where we had gotten the dog. So he was known because you have to like get the dog registered and stuff.
They just came and took your dog away?
What's up?
They locked your dog up?
Bro, they put the dog down. Well, because what they did was they said that he bit the neighbor.
Okay.
So then they put the dog down.
Did they lie on your dog?
Bro, they straight up lied on Blanchard. Blanchard never even barked, bro. Blanchard was a G. R.I.P. to Blanchard.
That's fucked up. That's like a documentary. I've seen those documentaries about people wrongfully accused.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Ever since then, I've just never wanted to have all
That's
the dogs
like making a murderer now that I think about it.
All the dogs I've had have ended unceremoniously. They really have. The first dog we had.
Let's bring the podcast down. How all of your dogs died? One sentenced to death by the state.
The other one was just in Africa. We talked about it. The one that he just wouldn't eat after we left.
Oh yeah. Did we talk about that on the podcast?
with Paul.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So then after that, I was like, you know what? Maybe dogs are for me. They're not for everybody. I
I've
love
never
dogs.
owned one. Valerie's the first dog that I've lived with.
Yeah, no, dogs are cool. I also couldn't live with. I don't have the patience to have to take them out all the time and
Yeah.
feed them. And
I used to talk shit about dogs all the time, and I would like crack Alex up about it. I'm like, dogs have never done anything good. Like we're in a building right now with electricity. Like dogs had nothing. Dogs haven't invented anything. They don't mean anything to me. Humans have brought everything that's great in this world. They've created everything good. Dogs do nothing. I
yeah,
don't give them credit for anything. So I would like talk shit about dogs to Alex, and then I read an article. I think it was a woman in the South took her two pit bulls on a walk in the woods, and both her pit bulls turned on her and ended up mauling her to death. And her body was found in the woods, like with the pit bulls. Yeah, and so the police came and they called animal control. They took the pit bulls and they were gonna put them down. And everyone's like, no, 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 you can't put those pit bulls down. You can't put them down. And they're like, they murdered their own owner. Like, I think these animals gotta go. And people are like fighting to like free them and rescue these dogs. And I sent Alex this article. I'm like, look what these two monsters did to this woman. And he's like, well, you're about to live with one. So
yeah. Now you have this savage.
he's like, I do own a pit bull, just so you know. And I was like, oh, all right. I'm sure she's great. I'm sure she's lovely dog. I'm sure she's.
She is a lovely dog. She's kind of an attention whore, to be honest. I
Yeah.
hope she doesn't hear me talking about her. She might jump up and start licking me right now. But then again, humans did make all this stuff, but humans also made all the fucked up shit that we happened. So what's the trade-off?
Yeah. All the pain and suffering, along with all the good things in life, I guess. I don't know. Humans are complex. Dogs are innocent creatures.
They
They don't
are.
deserve any of the slander that I put upon them.
But it's almost like it's dogs are too easy. You know? It's like you can't if you don't like if you hate dogs, like or if you like you're mad at a dog, like you can't. They're just like they're simple. You
Yeah.
know? It's like a they're just like
It's in their
uneducated.
nature.
Yeah, they're dogs.
But did that woman nurture them to be cold-blooded
Savage.
killers? Savage
What
beasts?
whatever ended up happening to the dogs from that woman?
I think they ended up putting them down. I didn't follow up with it too much.
I mean, if they put Harambe down, who
Yeah,
am I
I
to
mean, they
stop?
put your dog down just off an accusation of a biting. These dogs obviously murdered this woman. I think they definitely put them down. They found them at the scene of the crime, caught red pod.
Is that blood on your lips? Just savage beasts.
Yeah, they just stuck around the body.
Man, what if the dogs were addicted to drugs?
Just two junkie dogs having a junkie beef with each other. Maybe they were Irish traveler dogs from two different families that she didn't know.
Yeah. She just got in between it.
She got in between a bare knuckle boxing match.
She just got caught up in a dog beef she wasn't ready for.
Yeah, out in the woods, it makes perfect sense. It's where most of these fights happen.
Yeah. You know, it was a doggy drug deal gone bad. They were just smelling because there would be nothing worse than like you know how they make fun of that in like in that episode of Family Guy where Brian becomes a drug sniffing dog
Yeah.
and then he just gets addicted to the cocaine.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds like what if you're a dog that's addicted to cocaine? That must be like the worst life. What do you do?
I don't want to see a dog on cocaine. Like Valerie would probably lose her fucking mind. She wouldn't know what to. She gets hyped up just off life. And she's high on life.
Yo, your dog on cocaine? She'd probably jump so high she'd hit her head on the ceiling and pass out.
She would just tire herself out.
She would probably sleep for like 16 hours in a row. Like,
Yeah.
oh man.
I used to hang out with these girls that always try to get their dog high. And the dog just like, he just started to hate weed. Like he didn't like the smoke at all. So like if you just like blew in his face, he would just flip out. So we couldn't smoke weed in the house anymore. The dog would just lose its mind.
They fucked up. Why do they keep trying to get this dog
They
out?
just kept taunting the dog, just blowing bong hits in his face. So you just
This That's how the woman got mauled. Just keep blowing bong hits in your face, and one day the dog's had enough. He will maul you.
They made a bong out of a bottle. You ever do that back in the day out of a 2 liter?
Yeah, for sure. Gravity bongs all day.
Yeah, no, like you would just like put tinfoil in the top of it and
Yeah.
like hit it out the bottom of it.
You can do
They did
that.
that.
Do
They
apple
filled it with
steam.
smoke and like threw it at the dog, and the dog bit it, and the smoke like puffed in its face. And then he got angry because it was weed smoke and would attack the bong and like bite it again, and the smoke would just keep puffing in his face.
Sad days. Some assholes. You guys are monsters. My friend, this girl.
That was a ratchet house. Now that I think about it, that was like a double wide trailer down the street from my house, and like we would just go in there and just fuck that house up every afternoon. Like their mom was never home. I think their mom was on drugs.
Yeah, that's what happens. Like in the early '90s, 2000s, you could do that before the
Just
nowadays.
hang out in junkie houses and fuck shit up.
Whoever's parents were at home, you just go around and fuck shit up, wild shit. That's what all the shit used to happen.
My house got fucked up all the time.
Yeah, everyone just like whoever lived closest to the school that you could just go wild out with because no one's parents were home. That's where all
Yeah,
the
school vacations or summer vacations. It was like, whose house can we go fuck up today? We're gonna raid your cabinets, eat all of your ramen noodles and cereal.
Man, you miss out. Like now, you can't even like prank calling was a thing that we used to do. You can't prank call anymore. Prank calls are out.
No, where are you gonna get someone's number? They're like, I'm not in the phone book.
Yeah, and honestly, who even picks up a phone call from somebody they don't recognize? No one picks up the phone anymore. That's
If
like
you're not in my contacts, you are a spam risk.
100%. Even if you are in my contacts, you're still a spam
You're
risk.
still a
Like
spam risk.
50% of the time.
Why are you
I'm
calling
like,
me? Text me about this.
If it's serious, you'll send me a text.
Yeah.
If it's serious,
if you're in jail, they'll let you send a text.
if it's real serious, you'll call twice. That's how I know. If you called me back 2 times in a row, I know you really.
If it's deadly serious, you're leaving a voicemail.
Have you checked the voicemail since 08?
I didn't have it set up on my phone. On one of my phones, I didn't have it set up until I needed to get a job. And then I like activated it. I don't even know why my voicemail is activated now.
I don't even know if I have a voicemail activated on my phone. I don't know what happens when you call me. I think people can leave voicemails because they sometimes add up to my phone, which I'm surprised that I haven't reached the limit yet. There's got to be a limit to voicemails, right?
I love it when mine was like, you have reached the voicemail box that has not been set up yet.
Yes. Remember when everyone used to do prank voicemail box sounds? Like, hey, what's up? Word?
I had one.
Nah, I'm just playing. Leave a message. Beep. I hated those.
Mine was that up until a few years ago, I think. It was just me going, yo, the number you have called, you've reached the voicemail box.
Man, that's the worst too, because right when you're trying to call somebody, you'll like call someone and you'll be like, yo, what's up? And then you get the voicemail and you're like, motherfucker. And then you can't even slam a phone. You can't even slam it down because you're pissed. You're just like, hang up.
Did you have the friend that did like the super long one? My friend Nick had the, yo, what's up? Just chilling. What are you doing? Yo, I'm not really here right now. Leave a message.
Oh gosh, the worst.
It was funny once, and then when you actually like need to leave a voicemail for him, you just sit through that whole thing.
Who actually needs to leave voicemails now?
No, you'd send a text message.
Yeah, if you can't text me, then why are we even talking?
My grandmother doesn't even have like my phone number. She needs to reach. She'll get in touch with my mom. And my mom will send me a text.
Your mom will send you a voice.
My mom's the only one that leaves me a voicemail, and she still has to say, "Hey Jesse, it's mom." Like no one else leaves me a voicemail. I know it's you. It's a spam risk.
Mom, I have caller ID. I know it's you. Hey Jesse, it's mom.
Hey Jesse, it's mom. Your Amazon Prime account is overdue. Please send $20 to this account.
I'm gonna start leaving you voicemails. Hey Jesse, it's mom. It's just me. That means I'd have to actually call you, and it'd have to go to your voicemail, and I'd have to wait that long. That's a lot. That's a lot of steps before you can leave a prank message.
When you call me, I answer because I'm like, "What? Something's up. What's going on?"
That's true. I'm not a big phone guy. I don't really call people. I'm sometimes. I'd like to text sometimes, but I forget a lot of the time.
Yeah. You FaceTime with anybody?
No.
Just this podcast. This is exclusive.
This is the only face screen time. I honestly, here's my thing. I secretly hate social media. I hate screen time. I'm not a fan of it at all.
Yeah.
But this is the day and age that we live in. It's not
You
like we're
want real human interaction.
Yes.
You
I
want face
love
to
you.
face.
That's the beauty about stand-up is there's nothing like the human interaction of stand-up. Like nothing else gives you that, like you said something funny and somebody, whether they consciously knew it or not, had a visceral response to something that you said. And that is, you can't beat that. Where else can you get that from? It's not the same as like if I make like a funny video online, someone watches it and gives me a like. Okay. You know what I'm saying? That's like, anyone can just do a like. But when you can get somebody to show that emotion or be able to do that.
You want that real life thumbs up.
Yeah. I want them to be like, ha, that's funny. You're fucking funny.
Yeah,
like
haha react in real life.
Yeah, I want people tears crying emoji in real life.
Yeah.
Because someone can put it on a text and it means nothing. That's the only emoji I use. The crying face or the laughing face. Or the crying face followed by the laughing face. Only emojis I use. Am I crying laughing most of the time when I use it?
I'm old school. I still type out my ha's. I don't do an LOL. I was never an LOL guy.
You're not an LOL guy?
H-A-H-A-H-A. If you get a triple ha from me, it's a good joke. A ha-ha is my LOL. But ha-ha-ha, I legitimately left.
Yeah, if you get a text message from me that says ha 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 ha, like it's actually spelled out ha ha ha,
yeah,
that's how you know it's funny.
And or if it's all caps with like 3 exclamation points on it.
Or if I put low.
If it's really good, I'll call you and laugh in your ear.
If it's really good, we'll talk about it like this, and I'll tell you that's a really funny joke.
Yeah, I'll be like, dude, that joke was awesome.
If it's really good, I'll do it on stage and call it a comedy act. That's
yeah. If something you say is really funny, I'm gonna do it on stage, and I hope it works.
As you should. Steal shamelessly.
Yeah, I'm just gonna Carlos Mencia all of my social interactions from now on.
Well, American history is all built on people stealing. Like Alexander Graham Bell didn't invent the telephone; he was just the first person to patent it.
Mm-hmm. You know what I hate? When you're in a group of people and you're all like riffing jokes, and you say something funny and no one hears it, and the person next to you repeats it and they get the laugh.
Oh, that's the worst.
That's why I started doing stand-up comedy. I was like, I need to have full control
over the laughs.
Over the laughs.
Yeah, that's why. Well, that's the thing. Like I've just found that like I loved being in that environment, like being around people, making people laugh, telling stories and joking and holding court, you know. And I realized I could do that, but I was like, where else can I do that from? Like, where else do you get that opportunity to hold court from? And stand-up comedy, which is why I think I love the forum so much. I don't know, man.
And then there's podcasting.
What?
And then there's podcasting.
Ooh.
Now I can hear myself echoing through the laptop.
Oh, can you?
It's gone. I think when we like both talk at the same time, it gets fucked up.
Yeah, because I don't have my headphones in. So
we're new to this. We're like 39 episodes in. We don't know what the fuck we're doing.
Well, we don't know what the fuck we're doing for anything. You know what? Whether this podcast ever happens to it or not, whatever. I just think that we should just, wherever we're at in the world, even if we're not in the same town, we should just join up once a week and just bullshit. Forever.
Absolutely. Yeah. Forever. This podcast the production value will never get any better than this. And we're just going to keep it on Zoom.
It's just going to be this forever.
Yeah. Unless Zoom goes under, then we'll have to find something like different. I'll have to like screen record our FaceTime conversations.
You have a phone camera recording our camera here. Listen, whatever it takes to make this work, because that's what it is, man. Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, honestly, this has shown me though, I will never take stand-up comedy for granted again. I think it's just like, and I don't think I did. That's the thing about it that frustrates me is I don't think I did. You know, like I think that given the opportunities, I don't think there was ever a show that somebody offered me a spot that I turned down, unless because I was doing another spot. Like that's the only time I've ever turned down a spot is because I was doing another spot.
No, and if it was like a show I wasn't excited to do, like either way afterwards, I'm like, oh, I'm glad I did that show. I'm glad I still like went and did my thing.
No, I mean, honestly, anyone that I think it just for me it was always the shock that someone would want. It still blows. You want me to go say stuff to you, and then be like, yeah, we're even gonna pay you. It's like what? I was gonna pay you. Like that's how I still view it to now. I think there's very few things that you can still view through rose-colored lenses in the sense that you still see the magic in it. You know,
Mhm.
like what else do you do? Like I don't see that about my day job. Like not at all. Like, what else do you do that still brings you joy, like on a consistent basis, or makes you happy very consistently?
I don't know, man. I got nothing in my life right now.
Right. That's what I'm saying. That's what this took away. And I was trying to figure out what it was, the feeling. It's like comedy was the one thing that I went out of my way to do every day. And I
Hmm.
ensured I did it, and it made me very happy to do. I'd go
Yeah.
out even when I wasn't feeling it, go out and I'd hang out with the people and I'd tell some jokes. And even if it wasn't a good night or whatever, just
Yeah.
being around people and seeing it, you'd still be like, all right, that was cool.
But when we do like comic hikes and stuff like that, and we're all just like having fun, just like talking shit the whole time, I'm like, this is what I miss about stand-up comedy. It's just us hanging out before and after the show.
Yeah, that's the thing. It was like something
Yeah.
that just brought people together. Like, and it
So
was
I think I took that for granted. The hangs.
the people, right? Yeah.
Mhm.
Now I'm like the human interaction, like the social interaction that I have with people is very limited now. But yeah, I mean, and also I think it kind
And
of
when you
goes
do get together, there's a feeling like, should we be doing this right now?
almost feels dirty. Ooh.
Yeah. It's dangerous. The hangs
Yeah,
are dangerous again.
it's crazy to think that like now just hanging out with your friends is dangerous. Like I'm a bad boy. What did you
Yeah.
do?
I
Was
just
it,
got invited to a Christmas party. I'm like, yo, someone could
bro?
die.
Oh shit! Are you gonna go, dog?
This shit's gonna be
Fucking,
lit. Yeah,
you
do I
fucking
go?
go, bro. You
Now
gonna
you got
pull
like the
up?
easy out. You're like, hey, sorry, I don't want to kill anyone's aunt, so I'm just gonna hang at home.
Is it like a family Christmas party?
Yeah,
At least now, the one thing about it is like a built-in excuse to now not do anything. It's like
yeah.
oh, you don't want to do
My
anything.
dad's side doesn't give a fuck. Like people are just like coming in from all different towns and cities and shit, just hanging out, like eat lasagna. I think there was lasagna there last time, honestly.
No one asked for it, but somebody brought it.
Oh, lasagna just appeared at my cousin's house.
Yeah, it wouldn't be. It would to no surprise. Lasagna just appears.
Yeah. And we've come full circle. That was an hour of the podcast.
We've done an hour already.
We're at 57 minutes. Yeah.
Oh shit! Okay, some closing. We'll come. We'll bring the plane down. Then we came full circle. Started
Yeah.
with lasagna, ended with
And then I'll
lasagna.
come back into the living room and we'll just continue our hang again and we won't take it for granted.
Nah, you can't take it for granted. That's what you learn. If you learn anything from this podcast, which I hope you don't, but if you do, just don't take shit for granted, people. Well, all 10 of our average listeners, right? I believe that's our average audience is now 10.
Yeah, we have an estimated audience of 12 people that listen to the audio. And then there's like, I don't know who watches the YouTube video. Shout out to you. Like, you gotta
Yeah.
like keep an app up or like a window on your laptop of just Ben and me
See,
in my own house in separate rooms hanging out.
yeah, I can barely listen to my own voice over recording to replay my comedy sets. For you listening to me just
Yeah.
talking with
We
Jesse
should
for
start offering like cash prizes at the end of the podcast. Like if you have made it this far and have listened to the whole hour episode, we will Venmo you $5 each.
if you made it this far, what did we say at minute 10? Just start making listening challenges.
Yeah, at 58 30 seconds, I said gravy train. If you text me gravy train, DM me gravy train, no other context. Don't say anything else. Just say gravy train. I will Venmo you
Straight
$5.
up. If you DM me gravy train, I will Venmo you $5 straight up. That is we should add that to we should now do this on every single podcast, just a different word.
Not every podcast, random podcasts. So you,
So you never know.
you don't know what we're gonna do when the next cash grab is gonna come up. But episode 39, we're giving away $5 to the first person that texts you gravy train. I
Yeah,
could just lie and say you were the third person, so I don't have to Venmo you. But no, if you're legit, if you're the first person to text me gravy train,
yeah. DM me gravy train to my
yeah,
Instagram. at the Ben Bow.
I just got a text. I was like, is someone texting me gravy train right now? I was like, what?
We don't even record this live.
It's just Ellis in the other room.
Oh, he texted you from the other room?
No, if he was in the kitchen listening to you, that'd be fun.
He's a gravy train. It's just me texting you gravy train. I want that $5, man.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
All right,
Well,
this has been episode 39.
let's make a face for the recording.
There it is.
All right, cool.
All right, LonelyMans, we out.
Peace.